Hi, everybody. Welcome to the review for Griselda Records, Shady Records release project, the big one we all been waiting for, WWCD. What would Chine Gun? Sorry if I said that wrong. Do. This is the collaborative effort from Conway the Machine, Westside Gunn, and Benny the Butcher. And we have been reviewing Griselda record projects week over week for the last month or so, building up to this very moment when this project drops. This is the Headspace podcast. My name is Holden Stephan Roy. Unfortunately, Mr. Christopher decided to have a birthday yesterday and is unavailable to join us today. I also wrecked my throat last night at my company's office party, so I apologize in advance for however it may come off in this, and I will do my best to keep it clean sounding. On that note, this is the show where we go track by track through the albums, give our thoughts and opinions on every song. You can check the description of the video to see when we talk about any particular one. I keep saying we, even though it's me. But I do care a lot about your comments. They've helped us grow tremendously. They've helped us get a lot of insight, especially with something like Griselda Records, like to get the context that like the Hitler Wears Hermes series is about flossing or different things like that. So we have grown as fans of Griselda, mostly because y'all who watch this have taken time to share love like that. And on that note, we got a comment from Deniece, and this was on the video that we talked about last week, Conway the Machine's Everybody is Food 3. You can check out that review if you want. And he said over here, definitely excited for the album next week, being the one that we are talking about today. And you guys been putting out so many videos. I got some catching up to do. Great listening to your review. And I suppose I like that recognition. It made me feel happy because we try a lot hard to put out multiple videos every week. The last couple of months have been a little, sometimes other stuff goes on in life, and it kind of makes it a little bit hard to manage time the same way. But we'll get back on track with like the consistent grind with it. But sometimes there's some things worth working on, is all I'm trying to say without saying too much. We'll give you more details in the future. Anyway, we're going to get into the episode real quick. Special thanks in advance to the patrons: Ismail Kadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Cody Sparks. They're dope. Shout them out while you're still watching. On that note, today we are talking about the Griselda Records project, What Would Chine Do? And yeah, so we like to start off all the episodes describing the familiarity with each of the artists, but we put out like 7 or 8 reviews on the various Griselda Records projects we've come across in 2019 and maybe one in 2018. I'm not really sure, but started with Tana Talk 3 for me. I kind of found Benny to be really enticing, and that led me to Conway and Westside Gunn, obviously, and just the overall sounds, the beat making, the production style, everything about what they do I find interesting. But it's more than just like the music. There's just a lot of things they say that I find really appealing, and we'll continue to touch on that as we go through the review, because there's just these lines that just pop out at me that I find are amazing. Suffice it to say, I think they're all really great. I think Griselda Records has presented one of the dopest sounds I've heard this year, and would rank very high in my favorite projects of the year, which I'm not really sure what the order is or anything, but I'd be remiss to ignore the Griseldas, is all I'm trying to say. On that note, I have no idea who's on the cover. I tried to figure it out. I really, really, really did, but I was unable to figure out who's on the cover. Oh, one more thing to interrupt myself on an important tangent I should throw into the intro. We got clipped with an unfair copyright strike, as in it's potentially a malicious actor who took shots at the channel, and we'll see what happens with that. There's some reasons. I could get into some theories. If any of you care, let me know in the comments. We can make out a little mini video. But all that to say, follow us on social media if you wanted to stay in touch. Just in case something happens, you can reach out there and we can figure out what goes on in the future. But let's just call it a real scare happened. So you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all behind that suit. See you over there. We post everything there. All the videos are also on Facebook, so In case you do care about Lil Peep's Everybody's Everything review, which is now dead, you can still catch it on Facebook. Anyway, back into this review. So for the cover, I couldn't figure out who it is, but I love the look in the eyes, like just the severe, sheer, I don't give a fuckness of it all. The black and white nuancing on it, and it's pretty cool because there's not a lot like disrupting it. So like clearly they're almost token copyright moves to make it transformative. And it's kind of cool. It's just very clean. I like the title, What Would Chine Do, because it's like referencing the brother the dude who passed away in Machine Gun. It's I feel like I should not be messing up this guy's name. However, sorry about that. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's in reference to him, who really just inspired and kind of has been like a central thing that they have rapped about, focusing them almost. So I think it's really cool to, when they get their first giant opportunity as far as at least distribution goes, and to create like their first big release, to name it after him, and to basically be like in almost, because I mean it plays on what would Jesus do, right, where you're supposed to, in the different actions in your life, take some time and like consider what would Jesus do. So in this case they're flipping it into their fallen comrade who inspires them, and I find it really touching and really a cool title. I really like it a lot. Anyway, bunch of tracks to talk about. Some of them are a little more skit-like. Some of them are full length. We've got a whole remix on here to talk about. Let me know what you guys think, though, as we go through it. Feel free to respond to anything. And I guess my main question is, in case you don't watch the whole thing, do y'all feel that this lives up to the expectation, and is this your Griselda project this year, or are you more interested in some of the earlier works that happened? On that note, it all starts off featuring the homeboy Raekwon on the Marchello intro. So the beat is really nice. I'm not sure if it's actually live instruments or samples. I didn't look too deeply into it, but I had seen somewhere that there was the potential that there would be actual instruments used to avoid sample issues, but I don't know. Derringer and Beat Butcher, the in-house Griselda producers, created pretty much all the instrumentation on this project, making it truly a Griselda Records project, which is pretty awesome, right? Like, that kind of cohesiveness, or just the whole unit, when it's done, where like it's the same beat makers, the same rappers, like the same core creative unit, as opposed to just an individual working with whomever for whatever purpose, it creates a different experience, is what I've come to see. And it's something that I think the newer school doesn't have quite as much as the old school is that, like, I say that a little bit kind of knowing there's stuff like Brockhampton and whatnot out there, but I still think it would be cooler to have more band almost essences, where it's like this, like a group of people trying to put out the best fucking album ever, you know? So that's really cool. But the introduction is featured from Raekwon, and what I like about it is it's an old hip-hop trope where you would take established person who comes on through and blesses your album with an introduction, laying down some wisdom, but essentially hyping up and co-signing the group as the real deal and legitimate. So in this case, I mean, there's a lot of comparisons that could be said between what Griselda Records is doing in terms of sound and style and Wu-Tang. So to have Raekwon, especially him in particular with his crime rap stuff, coming on through here and bless him in track, it's like, it just feels very past the torchish in a really, really cool way. He also did the intro, I believe, on Fly God. I might be wrong about that, and I thought that was cool too. And what's really great is anytime you go to a Wu-Tang fan group, they shit on Griselda as though there's no like connection or whatever. But I don't know. To me, it seems like Ray over here is pretty damn cool with the Griselda squad. But I really appreciate the wisdom that Raekwon seems to be like delivering here. So he's going to talk to us, you know, he likes all the Griselda folks, but then he just starts dropping some dad shit, like, and one thing I'm going to always tell you, a good listener is a good learner. Be wise and humble, man. Keep generating and share with your family, and your blessings will come in millions. And that's really cool, because that's the type of shit that they do, you know? I feel like when it comes to the money game, There are two sides to it. There's the "it's all about me" version, where you flare up and maybe life's really cool for a little bit, but you end up lonely and broke and bankrupt. Then there's the other side where you get rich with your peoples, and in that version, it seems like you're like a lot happier when you're like more successful. It might take a little longer, but at least you can trust some folk when you're up there in the world. And I like the fact that Raekwon is reminding us, for those of us that have some good knowledge in life, that to be a good listener is to be a good learner. So shut up. Sometimes we talk too much. I mean, I make a podcast so I can vent this out, but in my personal life, I'm trying to learn how to keep my mouth shut when I'm around that kind of knowledge that I should be just shutting up for. And I just like it. Just keep generating. Make your family your motivation. Make it not about you. It's about humility. It just makes you dope. It makes you look cooler. It makes people believe in you more. And then I like how he's analyzing them demographics, giving you some hints that data is important. Google Analytics Academy offers free courses, and if you can tell a future employer that you've done them, you will make more money. It's just facts. And it's free, and it's on the internet. Google Analytics Academy. I don't know. That's right. Here we are in this Griselda Records review, and Raekwon's reminding me of analytics. But still, Griselda does touch a very interesting demographic, and I think it's the on-the-grind people, but from that perspective of passing knowledge down. Anyway, so he likes it, and then he kind of ends up letting y'all know that you shouldn't really offer love to people who don't prove to you first that they love you in some way, or you shouldn't be trying to love people who don't feel the same way back. I mean, what I took from it is more, a lot of people are going to show up and fake it, or you may be one of those people that gives love to everybody and then are sitting there complaining about how you don't like it when people take advantage of your kindness, but you should maybe wait to figure out who actually has love for you before being so altruistic with it, because there's a lot of bad people out there. And he's telling you that because it's essential, you know? And nothing's going to stop you from being great. And it's such like a fucking pick-me-up, you know? Listening to Raekwon, just kind of like telling you everything's going to be cool, everything's going to be okay, keep your wits about you, and grind on, because the good things are going to come in life. And I find that really encouraging. It's a little cheesy, but in a good way. Like in the kind of way where it's like, dad-like. I like the fact that Raekwon kind of sounds like a dad now, and my dad and I are in a cool place, but let's just say I appreciate it when older males decide to share wisdom with me. That's very appreciated, and I say that sincerely. So 4.25 on 5, it's a great introduction for this project, but I really wanted to hear some Griselda, and so let's talk about Chef Dreads. Man, right away, you just know this is going to be a fun project if you like the sound. Fair warning for anybody that, for whatever reason, is just passing through and isn't a Griselda fan. This is the kind of album where, on track 1, you know if you like the whole project, because it is going to be as equally good as this, and it's going to be very consistent. Yeah, they're going to flip shit up. Yeah, they're going to keep it interesting, but it's not going to deviate that much from this bars-driven, flowy shit. That's what I get out of it. So, like, I give you a context for where, like, I've come to really appreciate the Griselda sound in my life is exercise. I know it's going to sound crazy, but for me, that's, like, the hardest shit. I mean, you can tell I might not be the skinniest motherfucker right now. Working on it. I even bought the fucking Fitbit and shit so I can really, like, focus and like get my shit on proper, because health is wealth, which weirdly enough I've gotten more from gangster rap than I have from most other things in life, who has really got me to focus on like my health. So there you go. I'm trying to listen to the wise words of the successful people and shit. I know I come off like how I do, but I'm just like humbled by the amount of amazing knowledge, life-changing knowledge that's just out there for free that people choose to ignore. And that's kind of why I like Griselda. I think they share some of that. But lyrically, they're just so tight. Like, Westside Gunn has that, like, high-pitched voice, and then Benny and Conway have, like, similar tones of voice, but, like, I find Conway to be more, like what he does with a flow is kind of just wavy, and he hits these rhythms you're just not like expecting, and these vibes you're not getting it, with a bit more of like a slur to it. And then Benny's just clean, crisp, punching you with these harsh little bars the whole way through. And what I love about this song is on this beautiful beat. There's just vibing, like you just move in when you hear it kind of beat. Just old school, nice sounding shit. And then they just kind of go back and forth on this one. Like it's one long consecutive verse, and they just kind of each take like 4 bars, or whatever it is. I don't think they really follow a set timing, but they just keep flipping between them, and it's just great. These guys have such a chemistry together. It's something Bonnie will say on our classic reviews, is you can just tell when like the rappers are friends, and it has like this impact on the sound of just pure camaraderie. And I think that's significant in this world of pop music where everyone is trying to be the fucking best person in history. Like in history, like I'm the greatest thing that was fucking since Mozart. Like I don't know. Everyone's just me and shit. And then you have these guys, and it's just it's just squad. It's just this embodiment of a unit of people collectively working to the point where they caught the freaking eye of Eminem. I mean, if there's ever a blueprint on how to do things in the more unit, community-driven way, which seems to be an interesting way of approaching things. Like my city, Montreal, can totally benefit from paying a little more attention to how like Griselda Records is moving. Because if we copied that even a couple times over, we could put our city on the map in a more significant way. Anyway, let's talk about the bars a bit. I mean, Westside Gunn references stuff I don't fully understand, like hanging out the Royce with the Russian. I'm going to assume that he's out of a Rolls Royce, and the Russian's an AK because there was a lot of dudes in a quicker succession. Everybody ducking, only 5 people got hit, fuck it. And it just sounds like he's just flying around. It's another drive-by, whatever. But I don't know. I found with Westside Gunn, it's not so much what he says, it's the energy and the attitude and the absolute not give a fuck bravado, grandiosity of how he says it. Like, this shit's for people who want to hear men being men. I think that's a good way to put it. And then he just flosses. It just sounds amazing the way he does it. Then Benny follows through, and it's like takes off that energy, makes it a little more lyrical. You know, dumping through the barrel at your pumpkin, puffing gelati, chilling, giving your game to my youngin'. And he just made that all right. Youngin', pumpkin, puffing, dumping. The way he can do that, I really like it. I like the way his voice sounds, and I like the way he just kind of like cuts all his words at the end, just kind of sharpening it. I don't know. It's really cool. And have that money back on your time to me if I front it. I pull that gun up, slipping, you better run it. And it's just basic shit. Like, check that. Have that money back to me on time if I front it. It's just like a basic business etiquette. Like, follow the rules and there won't be no problems. But because I know common sense is dead, I'm going to take some time to tell you the rules in the middle of it. Shells, those like feel like oatmeal. I pull that gun up, you slip and you better run it. Shells, those feel like oatmeal. They sit in your stomach. And I just like the casual references they make, right? Because a lot of people make some crazy ass shit. But he's going to let you know that the bullets that he's going to pierce your stomach open with, they're going to be like oatmeal. We all know what oatmeal is. So you can compare how the oatmeal's in your stomach to how the bullets are going to be in there at some point. I don't know. I find it really fun. And then we bounce us back on over to Westside Gunn, who takes it. I don't know. I don't have anything crazy to say about his lines. It just sounds great. And then Conway jumps in. See her knocking at my cell price on the linen. Look, you know, the wheels got the big B's on. The wrist freeze. Diamonds dancing at Chris Breeze. 3,500 my sneaks. You can't get these. After I nut, I made the bitch leave. I mean, it just sounds like a hip-hop freaking concise mission statement. In jail and fly. My car's doing fantastic. My wrist has got the diamonds. My sneaks is on point, and I'm fucking nutting proper. Like, it's pretty dope. What else can I say? I just think I'm a little bit of a sucker for those verses where they do the bouncing back and forth thing like what they're doing over here. Then, you know, it flows back in between them, and they just kind of bounce off each other for the rest of the track. I'm going to just look real quick as I'm going through the lyrics, seeing if there's anything else that particularly popped up at me. I mean, for the most part, it's the energy of the track that I find great. I just love the authentic sounding feel that these guys have, because it's not necessarily like I'm picturing them out there actually doing the killings. It's that I'm picturing them out there, and I believe that they are willing to do anything that they are saying, because in the past they have necessarily done that. I remember a line. I knew I was looking for something on this. Is when Conway over at the end goes, we the upper echelon of the hard rappers. And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. I would say currently Griselda is in the upper echelon of the hard rappers. They're doing pretty good with that. The most sought after, bar after bar after bar after, right? Because bar after, and he's in the middle of saying bar after bar, stops it because it does the rhyme, starts the next line with bar, finishing the following line. We ride like sort of soft out of traffic. People got up my pocket, my dog clapped him. But it's just the way he played that bar after bar after bar line. I thought from like a writing perspective, that's when you start fucking with the grammar to meet the flow, like to move just the sentence around, and like that's some actually like advanced poetic technique that's being dropped into the middle of this shit. So the writing is just absolutely stellar. I don't actually think I'm qualified to go through the bars and tell you what everything means. I think in fact y'all could tell me what every bar means. So here's something different I'm gonna do. Tell me your favorite bar on this track. What it meant to you. Like maybe even break it down, because like I can figure out what a lot of it is, but some of the references like Bushmaster with the raft straps, knock your shoes off. I have a good idea what that means. I picture a gun shooting you off and your shoes falling off. But like, like it's not really my world. I just also with Griselda, I'm a little bit of a sucker for the do. Like it's just fucking fun, man. All right, I'm getting a little excited and whatnot. It's gonna be a great project. Like the whole way through, it's dope. This is an amazing start. Like it really got me like into it. So I give it a 4.5 on 5. I was very excited. There's a bunch left to talk about. I'm hoping I'm gonna pronounce this right, because the next track is Moselle. Moselle. I'm in Quebec. On parle français ici. So this one is a lot slower. It's a lot calmer. I feel like you got a bit more of an upbeat vibe here, and like I don't know, I've been bouncing along to the rhythms, the speeds and the tempos of my Fitbit to get my steps in, and I felt like on a song shift, I definitely felt myself slow down a bit here. I like the way Conway starts it off. This the theme music for the pie stretchers. I whip five, I got 5 extras. 3 everybody's food tapes, a trifecta. Show these people in the game how to apply pressure. And I think it's interesting because he both alludes to both sides of his life, the older game and then the music thing. And just something that has been truly profound to me is the volume of consistent high quality music that these guys have produced. So like I'd say every project has been it's a fucking classic, but it's kind of short, so it's hard to call it classic range because most of the projects have been short. But track for track, it's been this level of bars and writing, and then like this level of facts dropping. So at this point when he says this, right, we just did Everybody is Food 3. I mean, I don't know if I like that better or this better, because they're so equal in quality that like it's truly baffling, the consistent like ethic of Griselda Records, and it really does show people how to apply pressure. And then to follow it up with all my bitches got a bag and they drive Tesla, like I'm a geeky dude, man. I like Tesla. That shit is fire to me. So the fact that he's being eco-friendly and promoting technology while flossing wealth, because they're pretty expensive, the high-end Teslas, that's just amazing. The rest of his verse comes through. The rest of his verse follows through with consistent, flossing in an intelligent way. Like hollow tips flying out from my heckler. We come a long way from that digi scale. That shit too small to weigh up the shit I sell. So you got the little scale for the little volumes. Now it's way bigger. Everything's doing better. I just really enjoyed his verse. I thought it was everything you could possibly want to. I feel Benny the Butcher then comes in and just flows through. And one of my favorite lines is, I'm 5'8", but 6'11" if I stand on my bricks. Because I'm 5'7", so I appreciate where he's coming from with that 5'8" line. But then he pointed out, man, but I got so much shit going on. I just got to go stand on it. And now I'm fucking tall. And it's just a floss, right? Because it's not just the literal aspect of it. It's the fact that the wealth that it represents, the power that it represents, makes him internally, his spirit, become 6'11". And I thought that's really fucking cool. I cancel y'all quick with the Glock I shoot cannonballs with. Just the way he rhymes that, it's really awesome to listen to. I sat in prison, walking the yard, just planning all this. Unknown location, I got 30 O's, because I'm too smart for that stash in the dirty clothes. So there's the rhyming part there, too. But the fact that he was sat in prison, right? Like, that's something that means that he took an L at some point to end up in prison. And I think it's really cool to see that these guys that I can sit here and respect also went through some level of adversity, overcame it, and are now here sharing their experience with everyone. Like, as far as being a great role model goes, I don't know how else you could do it other than trying to teach people based off of your own life experience. Revenge a dish for greedy people. You gotta serve it cold. I had to move to where the climate hot. I took the money off the corner and invested that in private stock. But I still run the spot. Hustlers buy the bricks and back, and the front is just a tire shop. So that's a really cool lines because, he's flossing like, yo, I'm still real with it. But what does he say in the middle? I made this money off of a certain way, and I put it into a legal and clean way to get money, because I suppose if you want to floss and actually have all the nice shit, you have to prove to the government that you made the money in some way. And so he's giving you an idea. He's saying, yo, check out that stock market. There's actually interesting ways to go through it. AMD, the graphics company or the computer company, is an interesting alternative stock because it's sitting around $37. And if Google and the Stadia and any of their moves pop off, that stock could rise. I digress. I don't know a lot about the stock market, so fucking really don't listen to me. That's just some shit somebody said to me recently. I don't know. I like the way he ends it. Felony shit, you can never be clipped. One night stands with women I would never be with. My OG putting me on. He loved telling me shit. Said black men in America could never be rich. The Butcher. And it's an interesting kind of way where it's like ending as a felony. Everything shouldn't have worked out. Like, I can imagine. Like, he doesn't, when he's younger, his life probably doesn't picture like it's actually going to end up at this trajectory, but all of a sudden it's like, in spite of that, here we are, they're killing it, they're doing extremely well, and he gets all the people he wants. I really enjoyed that. Then Westside Gunn pops on and finishes this track, and I feel like his verse, as is the case, it's less rappy and more vibey, which complements it really well because it almost takes on the role of a bridge, making it more open. So unlike the more rap tightness of a Benny, we get like, Ayo, rockin' wonders, wondering if I should rock John undercover for the whole summer. Don't get me wrong, he's rhyming proper, he's rapping well. It's just I feel like he's more willing to let the beat ride, or pull the scratch numbers and boom, 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 and like it's like this dramatic experience to listen to Westside Gunn in a bigger sense than the other two, and I think that's really cool. I like when he goes, too much coke, I made the Pyrex glass suffer, because it's just like you just picture him just like fucking abusing his shit to the last second, because instead of like using the Pyrex at the last dollar value he can get out of it before he switches it up. But the way you wording it, like, I made it suffer, like, when you really think about it, you probably are putting Pyrex through abuse when using it in a regular sense. So it's just that kind of imagery I've always really enjoyed with these guys. I don't really have more to say about his verse. I found myself, by the time he's coming in, there's a lot of his ad-libs kind of go over his lines a lot, so you kind of get drowned in it, and it's pretty okay. Anyway, this track is another, I'm going to give it a 4.4. It was a little slower, so from a preference perspective, I can't see this being the first one I put on, but from like an objective quality perspective, it's just as good as the last track. So 4.4, and then the next song is called Cruiserweight Coke. I like the beat to this one, that like kind of sound in the background that just resonates and builds up and gets some anticipation going. It's really, really cool. The Genius annotation says it's the opening track or whatever of the album. It's clearly track 4. I like Genius sometimes. Anyway, This one just feels fun. You got your first verse where you have Conway the Machine doing it, and Benny, I think, is kind of jumping on ad-libs here and there. But who running the shit? It's not even close. The double R Covenant and the Shoddy is close. So here's like an interesting thing. Social numbers, these guys are not killing it. But like, man, I feel like their just music is on point, and from a quality perspective, they're absolutely destroying it. Like, nobody can fuck with them. But like, I suppose they're just in a world where a lot of their fan base is maybe not on the internet quite as much as others. Still, it's a shame that they don't have millions of followers at this point. Honestly, I think Benny the Butcher has like a surprisingly low number of likes on Facebook. Y'all should go like these people on social media. Anyway, the double R Covenant and Shotty's close. That's the Buffalo people that catch the bodies the most. 30 on my hip. I bet I will not get approached. My son gonna be a hustler. I can see it in his eyes. Pull on the backseat every foreign I drive. And man, it's consistent in the flow. They're rapping where they're from. They do stuff the hardest. And I like it because of like that hip hop sense. To catch a body is like murk another rapper just as much as it could literally be the other thing. But then he flips it to pointing out that like, as much as he does his thing, he looks at his son, you know, he's a family man now, and he sees his son is carrying, you know, that same thirst and hunger for the future. And it's like, it's almost like, unlike some people who might be afraid of that, it's almost like there's a sense of pride, like his son's gonna kill it like he did, you know? Might connect like Domino's, I can order a pie. And I like that line too, because that's what you do at Domino's, and it's a fun little double entendre. And I'll be honest, I'm a little hungry, so it made me think a little bit about pizza. It's a pretty good one. And then he calls him back, gets all the supply, and it just flows through. I like the my OG used the used to be the source like Benzino line, because Benzino had the source, and he laughs at that. But I thought that was just a funny line. I don't know. I don't have a lot more to comment on it. Overall, it's just great bars. This one's more of like, I found myself really catching the lyrics, like they were like popping out at me, and it was less maybe about that flow, and I just found the writing to really be superb here. Or Benny's flow, Griselda the labels, but you know better than play with us, or the way he did it there is better than me, of course, but it was just nice, like the way he comes through, like, we are the squad, but don't fuck with us, because we'll take you out. And I'm going to be stacking and weighing up soon as I feel this rap shit don't pay enough. And that's fascinating. It's like, I'm here, we killing it, and it's paying well good, but if another opportunity or something pops out and the rap's not good enough, fuck it, I'm out. Cop 9, sold 8, yeah, it's late, but you know me, I'm staying up. Bougie bitch, yeah, that's my type, you need 6 figures just to lay with her. And I like the fact that he's just like so like blatant about it. It's like, I want the girl that costs as much money as anything else just to floss that this is what I have, this is where I'm at, you know? Very interesting. Like, the way he like puts it so matter-of-factly, but lays it out honestly, and it isn't like maybe braggadocious. He manages to make it, I guess, sound cooler than a lot of other people do, because you need this money to be in her presence because she's that high of quality, as opposed to how a lot of guys might frame that in a way where they come off sounding thirsty. I like when Benny the Butcher goes, but my plug's still playing broke. He an Old Navy and an Apple Watch. I'm rocking Old Navy right now. I make enough money to not have to wear Old Navy. I love Old Navy because it don't cost a lot. But I would like an Apple Watch. I'm not an Apple Watch. I was looking at like nicer smartwatches. I decided it's not in my budget at the moment, but I like the juxtaposition of the really cheap clothing with the ridiculously expensive smartwatch to like go through it. Although maybe in this case, an Apple Watch isn't expensive to a drug dealer. I'm not really sure, but I thought it was just, you know, the mix of Old Navy, cheap clothing with Apple Watch. You know, if you have Apple, it's more expensive than other things typically. Anyway, I thought that was one of my favorite lines. It was really cool, and I like the way he flows. I think Benny's my favorite, followed by Conway, followed by Westside, but they're all amazing for different reasons. You won't understand me unless you move your family to a place they feel safe in. Fuck, that's another great line too, because he's kind of pointing out that he's doing so well that he was able to take his family out the hood. So because of that, you can't come at him in the same level of ways that he can come at you. And I like the fact that they're kind of savage enough to maybe bring your family into it to prove their point and to win. Anyway, Westside Gunn starts off with this interlude where he just dudes forever, and that guy can just dude forever, and I'll keep listening to it. It's pretty awesome. I like when he's like, my shooter doing bad again, just repeats it for a while. I buy the G, get you. I got the Mac in the Fiend rental, pulled up skirt. Who the fuck said what? And then it just sounds like, somebody talk some shit. I gotta come in here and deal with it. And then he comes through and he does the rest of his verse where he drops some references I can't fully explain, but overall sounds fantastic whilst doing it. I kind of like how he ends it. It's all about timing, eating fine dining, coke with fine china. Because there is something just like to take coke and do it on fine china makes you feel fancier. It's like snorting it with a $1 bill and a $100 bill. They're all practically the same thing except for the value of the bill. I don't know, something about cocaine and fanciness. I like this one a lot. I give it a 4.5. Just felt like what I was hoping for on this album. The next track's pretty cool. It's called Freddie HotSpot. I like this one because I feel like it has more of a story-esque vibe to it. Like, Benny starts off with, they play sports. Oh, the beat's sick, by the way. It's just, the beats are always sick. I'm terrible at describing them. But I feel like this one's a little more upbeat, a little more engaging. Like, it makes me feel more active than other beats. But they play sports. I race the Porsche through the speeds with choppers. You know us, we like the Bucks in the Eastern Conference. Alright. That's a good start. I'm plugged on the boat coast from Long Beach to Yonkers, so I'm somewhere in Brooklyn smoking weed from Compton. That's pretty fly. I don't know. I don't have a lot to comment on it. I like the idea of him smoking Cali weed and bringing it in, and I like this, the kind of widespread feel, overall grandiosity of it. Tell me it's lit. Just pull up and sell me this shit. A bag of 1/2 and 3.5s with no scale in this bitch. And I thought that was cool, that he can just eyeball 3 5s and just do all the measurements right. I don't know, maybe it's not a storytelling, but I guess it just came off that way to me when I was hearing it. Riding through magazine, tall as elf in the blick, beef in the air, I smell fear, I can tell you was tense. See, like that kind of shit, kind of story-esque. Like, you just picture him looking at you, like, recognizing the fear, like, literally maybe the smell of your pheromones change and shit. Had to drop but let you slide because I could tell you was bitch. I stayed in the suite so long, I got the mail at the Ritz. I like that a lot, too. Like, you know, he clips it out. I guess he's hiding out in the hotel and, you know, had to be there in a certain place to the lengthiness to getting mail, which is also a floss at how rich he is because of how fancy it is. I don't know. It's nice. I like the way he ends it with, my lawyer told me to breathe. Them charges never gonna stick. Let's go. And I suppose it must be stressful to have cases where, like, you are at a point where it ends up with your lawyers like, nah, we good. You got this. And so, yeah, lawyer says it's good. Let's keep moving. And I like Westside here because he really, like, it almost feels like this one, Westside just fucking comes in with a, I don't want to say his other verses aren't proper, but this one is very rapped out as opposed to more of the hype shit that he does. We was bagging, some big person came through clapping, I ducked behind French, got the Mac and started, he came home from doing a stretch, nobody put him on, all he heard was West got the bricks, you got to sneak up on him. So here West is describing this situation where he's doing his thing, but dude gets out of prison, comes in and tries to rob him. Went and got the blow from Pete. You know, Pete from Utica did a stretch and came home and started shooting up. But anyway, they did 5 together in Attica. Now I'm getting rich and they broke. It ain't adding up. So here it's pointing out that these guys did their thing. They come out. They're kind of jealous. Westside Gunn's doing well. They're not doing well. So they plotted on him and they came at him. And I just like the way he tells it. I found I was very engaged in it. He saw the van. He's got to lose him floating down Fillmore, slid up the CP. One of us got to go. It ain't going to be me. And it's just this energy of, like, you can just picture him seeing it like, shit, these fucking haters. And they're flowing through. And they're coming at him. And he's just looking out. So, still got the aces hopped out. Shot Pete in June. His brains landed on Wakefield. And then he just says boom, 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 boom. As he's just blasting through it. These people coming. A couple weeks later, we was bagging again. And then another guy comes up. Hid behind the fridge and started doing it, and it just seems like that's his whole life, man. You know, now it's dust missing, get the mop, get the bleach. Like, I guess that's what it is. People just keep trying to rob us, we keep trying to kill them and having to deal with that situation. Then after all that, Conway drops a chorusy thing, like way into the song. Came a long way from the king. We was dealing, got my name out the kitchen, and he just repeats it. And it's like, that's fair, eh? So they come from that like place where it was maybe more dangerous, and here they are laying it down, delivering this music to us like it is a fantastic product, and I really just appreciate what they're doing with it. Don't worry, Conway does come with a verse. A few thousand for the God crystals. I can make a call and get the raw shit, man. One shot, one kill when my dog clipped him. Scored on them people with one bullet. That's raw, strip him. Again, I like the rhyming. I like the imagery of how they like. You're just kind of like sitting there picturing them in the room, like making the orders. People going through, doing what they have to do to deal with these situations. I don't know, 4-5'd him, left him in the street, front seat of his car twitching. I don't know what kind of raw you been sniffing. Think you fucking with me? My bar is different. And I have to give them credit. They do have a certain differentiation and quality and aesthetic to their bars that make them pop off and sound different than most of the hard rappers. I don't know. I like it a lot. Overall, the rest of his verse flows through. I don't have a lot more to comment on, but I totally appreciate the fact that they're aware of the fact that people hate them for doing well, that there's been consequences in that. They've come so far, others haven't. And I don't know, this one just hit me really good. I thought it was one of the better Griselda tracks I've heard across all the Griselda tracks. So I gave it a 4.75 on 5. Let's follow up with track 6 on this project. It's called Dr. Birds. This is like another one where Westside brings it in that dope, like rap out flow, that energy coming through. Like, hey, yo, I'm in Salvatore making salad Bentiaga in 3 flavors. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. That's fine. Shoot the person now, we'll speak later. Up in Whitney, got the Mac with me. And just the way he can make these shit rhymes, flow it so well. Like, I think that's what I like the best about them, is that they rhyme everything in a really tight, technical, like, there's no whack bars. There's nothing out of place. It's just all crafted down to fucking perfection. Hid behind a Warhol, you know, like, the fact that he's hiding behind a Warhol, you know, interesting. Like, and it just flows thing. Dip to Bergdorf, shot the whole store. I don't know how to say those words properly. Anyway, he keeps it coming with the same kind of energy that we've been getting throughout this project, but it's still just this great, awesome experience. I don't have a lot more to comment, but they all kind of repeat this thing in the middle of the verse, this little hook, when they go, told Virgil, write brick on my brick, write brick on my brick. So I believe Virgil's a jeweler, so, you know, kind of elaborating it, like the blatant obviousness of writing the word brick on a brick. You know, I think that's fucking funny. Like, or, I don't know, maybe I misinterpreted that, and always feel free to correct me. But all his people dealing, all his people killing, and people try to test me, now them people's missing. The general sense of, if you fuck with them, there will be serious consequences. Then Conway comes through on the second verse. Look, little brody let off his 30, he ain't even flinched, caught the body, dripped to the A, nobody seen him since. 50, 60 bins, I ain't need them tints. And I think that's cool, that he's saying, I don't need the tints on my car because I can come through, do all of these things that we're gonna do, and I just do it full on. Everybody knows who it is. My weakest scent costs more than your mama need for rent. That's a cool line too, because his cologne is so fucking expensive that it can supersede your mom's rent. And actually, your mom's rent can be pretty cheap. So, like, it's possible that a cologne costs more than what my mom has to pay in rent. Lots of cologne costs more than what my mom has to pay in rent. That's just one zip. And then he kind of really qualifies it further into, like, how he's going to make that money. You just got to sell this one zip to get the money to pay your mom's rent. Again, it's interesting. I don't know, the way that they can paint it and make it so engaging. I think what blows my mind the most is effectively you'll get, I don't know, 100 songs this year about the same shit, and it's still as engaging and fascinating and flowing to listen to as it was when I first heard the first Griselda project. I like how he comes through. I told Virgil, write brick on my brick, but you know, Westside Gunn might lay down that line 6 times in a row. Instead, he goes, the nicest with the shit, ain't write this, I just spit. And I think that's another cool point, man. If they're really, and I believe to a degree that Like, I always think it's just insane that these guys can walk in and just spit freestyles. And you know what? I believe it because I can tell that these guys have put that time and effort into finessing their rap so that they can just walk into it and make every bar fucking perfect. And if you look at the volume of music they've created, if they were taking the time with a pen and a pad to write it all, I don't know. I think that in the sense, the benefit of sticking within your comfort zone and is an effective, not to say that they're locking themselves in a box or anything, but to do what you do in your lane well, is you do it so well that you can literally just walk in on any beat and just spit and it's just done and it's just going to come off sounding amazing. I don't know. 2 in the morning on the corner night shift with my blick, no soda in this off-white shit that I whip. I'm rich off this off-white shit on my bitch. And I kind of like the fact that their product is so quality that it results in this other shit. And that quality is something that's important to them because there are a lot of people that want to go out there and try to cut corners and get around it. But at the end of the day, if you're not creating a high-quality product, who's going to care? I don't know. Then we got Benny in the last verse. Yo, I gave cocaine to users and OKs to shooters. I'm cocky, vintage Versace, and the stone face from Medusas. So it's like kind of giving on the descriptive of how he gets stuff done. Like, yo, I sold the cocaine to the people who wanted it. I told the shooters to do what they needed to do. And then I'm cocky. I got all this fancy ass Versace, which I think has the Medusa face. Then he does a bunch of other lines in a similar vein. And it's freaking great, man. Cause trust me, every family had a Henry Hill. What else? And every man don't got a Benny skill, which is fair. Not a lot of people can rap like Benny. When you this dope, it takes at least 50 mil just to sit me still. And that's a guy recognizing his value and telling you, like, I know I'm worth this much. So because of that, because I had the confidence in my skill, I can set that price. Like 10 on my whip, white bitch on my dick, right wrist when I whip, that white brick on my brick. I don't know, I just like the way he did that part. A little bit later on, he goes, these rappers want to be trendy, these hoes want to be friendly, but never. She wear Forever 21 like it's Fendi, punk bitch. And I like that because I like the girls who rock Forever 21 like it's Fendi. They tend to be a good time. I told the bitch it's Javenti, or however he says it, she pronounced it Javinci, or I don't know. That line I thought was really funny because like it was like he's clearly fucking some girl who's so like out of her league in this fancy line and whatnot. And then he kind of runs through what would Chine do. I'm still thinking militant. I like them referencing the title the way that they do throughout the album. And overall, I thought this was just another amazing track, another 4.75, another cool one. And you know what? Just when you think like it doesn't get better and maybe they're running out of tricks or anything, they fucked the whole vibe up with the old groove. So this one has like a distinctly eerier kind of beat to it, kind of slowed down, like it takes some time to build up and whatnot. And I really enjoy something I didn't point out on most of the tracks so far is how in the last 30-45 seconds the beat might like flip up and give you a little something different to kind of serve as a little bridge and interlude between the tracks, but always of the equal high quality production, almost like samples of beats that never ended up getting used or whatever. Anyway, something noteworthy about this is it might be the fucking longest Griselda Records track I've heard of. It's like 7 minutes long, which it's kind of exciting. Like, what are they gonna do to fill it up? And go and rap their ass off and throw in a fourth verse with a feature. Totally makes sense now. But Westside Gunn starts us off, and it's a long verse, but it's really good, man. The way he uses timing so well. Just says a line, holds it the right amount of time between it to let it kind of resonate, sink in, drops another one, keeps it going. As far as the rapping goes, it's the same kind of idea, but where I'm from, these people shoot bitches and kids. I mean, that's a fucking strong line, right? Because people typically are afraid of shooting the women and the children. And I like the fact that he's pointing out that the level of savagery is your family isn't even safe. Megabus upstairs, I had it taped to my ribs. I know Megabus is a shit that got me to Toronto. I don't know what the fuck he saw. Is that like a bigger gun? I don't know. Stupid motherfucker ain't find a brick in the fridge. Only got 10K. Fuck that. We going back. And then it's almost like he's trying to rob some guy, but there's not enough. He didn't find it all. I don't know. I just find the way he says it interesting and fun to listen to as it's been. And then he just kind of says a bunch of lines, Trench on, shit only came out of Europe, my shooter on syrup, kids I got on, you ain't never heard of. And a lot of it's just the rhyming, a lot of it's just the way he's saying it. He says a lot of fashion shit, just kind of describes things. In a lot of cases, I'm not like that big into it, so it's hard for me to like focus and catch the bars, and not catch the bars, but it's hard for them to stick with me because they're about things I don't necessarily relate to. But from the perspective of listening to him rhyme words together over and over again, I don't think I can get sick of that. So one of my favorite lines, though, before we move on from Westside Gunn's verse, is when he goes, could have fucked your bitch, I told her never mind. Because it's like, that seems to be like a funnier thing. It's like, I could have banged your girl, but I chose not to. It seems like a bigger diss than I fucked your girl. That's all I'm trying to say. Conway comes in with the second verse. Preach people to get money while we richer. Key flippers, I marry jeans, Louis V slippers. It's the same kind of thing. I don't know if like there were any other lines in his verse that really stuck out at me enough to comment on, because I feel like at this point I've effectively explained what it is about each of these guys that I like. And from the reviewing perspective, without literally going through every lyric line by line and reading it to you and saying that's dope and showing you how they rhyme, I'm not certain how else to approach it. So it's pretty great. I like when he goes, your pocket's not deep enough, do not beef with us, how can we be touched, two people can't got reach enough. And again, it rhymes well, pointing out and establishing that they're in a certain tier, and the haters are often below them, people kind of punching up, trying to get some clout or whatever. So, as a person who's trying to rise up, I relate a lot to the overall tone and vibe of what they're putting off, man. It's just really great. The attitude that they're selling reminds me basically of Robert Greene books in hip-hop form. So it's really fun. I dig it a lot. Moving on to Benny the Butcher's part, he does the third verse, and it's just like I feel like he just took it up a notch on this track a little bit. Mind your business, people. Tuck your paper when it's on. My shooter, Teflon, a couple layers. Every day I put on gold like a fucking Laker out west, pushing them foreign shits up La Brea. I'm not going to go out here and say that I think all of these lines is like better than the other dudes. I just like the way he spits a lot. I like the way his flow hits a lot. It's cleaner. He's the cleanest of the three, and I think it really resonates with me. But I really like when he goes, the outcome when your pedigree is Martin Malcolm. Don't appreciate you when you're dead and study all your albums. And that's an interesting point where it's like putting himself as like this, almost like a role model, and and recognizing his place of potentially being great, and then recognizing that it might take actual death for people to go back and take a look at his music. And as I was saying, Benny in particular has the lowest social score we can say of the squad. And then the idea of like having to pass away before people care isn't like limited, so I really appreciated that. I thought it was good. Then he has more of that imagery shit. Quarter brick under my mattress and my father found it, wanted me out, but all I did was make him call it down here. I just put my dick in her mouth. You brought that whole Louboutins. I caught a bomb in the A and don't play for the Falcons. So the idea of his dad catching the weed and him dealing with dad catching him with like drugs and having that part of his life, and that was the thing I had to deal with. And then he fucking nuts in a girl's mouth. Oh, you bought that girl shoes? I don't know if it's happened yet, but one of my favorite lines on this album, in case I miss it, is when he like points out how you like fucking pay for girls and he has girls what he does for them. It's just like that type of shit. It gives you this mentality like, what would these guys think? Like, put yourself in that moment. Do you want to be a Benny the Butcher, or do you want to be a Future? Those are two different ways to look at how you can handle these situations. I don't know, walking around up with your re-up in my back pocket. I used your baby mama for a stash op, and I couldn't trust that bitch, so she was my last option. That was funny to me, because like he took your baby mama, used her as a place, but fucking couldn't trust her. And at the end of the day, he used her, but it's only because he had no other choices to go through it. And then he goes through, so the top 5 got all 3 Griselda members, and I thought that was a pretty cool line, because if I had to think about some of the best rappers I heard this year, it would be the 3 Griselda members. I don't know exactly what my list is, like I said, but definitely have all 3 as contenders for being in the best rap albums I've heard this year. How I Make That Brick Drum, put my elbow in it, let's go, flows into a really singy interlude from Novel, who I've never really heard before, but it's just nice and calm. And then he gives us this verse that is just so different than what we've gotten from the rest of Griselda. It's like this R&B kind of rappy, singy vibe going on, and it's truly pleasant to listen to. Never had a drum shot but a cold pen. Papa was an old pimp that used to smoke slims. I ain't the one for tussling. Quick to tell a bitch person do something. Then kind of painting out the environment he's coming from and giving us some more of that interesting tone setting kind of imagery with it. Like, my dad was this old pimp smoking these cigarettes, like bringing you back. Brown Tims with the polo fleece. Youngins pushing past, control these streets. And Popo flashed always trying to find these people. Them cocaine 80s turned me to a Grammy people. And it's a lot of, I guess, the same kind of, I don't want to say it in a negative way, but typical hood thinking back kind of lines, laying it down. And it really fits this well, and it really thinks back on the old days, and I liked it, when he goes, that crack rock is a hell of a drug. Talking to himself, selling they love, that crack rock is a hell of a drug. In the stash spot, never sell out your plug. Anyone can get shot and killed, so I had to get out for real. And then he goes into his singing, now that's the ghetto's home, and he's like kind of left to another zone. I'm just like left with this moment where I thought it was really beautiful the way his verse kind of comes in and presents like a calmer, almost softer side to it all. And whereas you have these guys that you have the Griselda crew that represents the dealers in a sense. They made it, they did it, they had to be the harsh thing. You almost have this other verse which is kind of more outside looking in at the situation, and I thought that was a really nice kind of flip up to the whole thing. So I gave this track another 4.75 because it's truly dope. And these last three have all been like really, really amazing. And guess what? It really doesn't end there. We continue on with the really, really amazing as we talk about Scotties. So in this one, the first verse has a really fun and clean back and forth between Westside Gunn and Conway the Machine. It's another one of those grimy kind of feeling beats. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I just found myself kind of like, oof, like one of those ones where your head bops a little bit extra with it. I don't know. And I like how Westside starts us with Chine Gun wore gloves in the summer, threw in my numbers, a pair of jumpers. And then Conway bounces back, hollow head lead dumpers. The Louis V shit, Virgil designed it. I got shot and a few people got murdered behind it. And I kind of like how Westside shouts out, the person the album's inspired by, Chine Gun. And then, kind of following it up where in the environment they're at, it's a little dangerous to a point where Conway gets shot and then other people get retaliated. They retaliate against those same people. And you have Westside being like, the Mac shoots silent, and you just seen people dropping who ran the yard, who ran the phone, who had the biggest locker. And I like this questioning thing to do. It's like this, like almost like who had the yard, who had the phone. Like it had this like almost aggressive tone to it, but cocky in the sense that what the answer is. We did. And then Conway bounces back. Who had the Glock? Who had the Mac? Who had the biggest chopper? You getting shot. You getting whacked. No need to get a doctor. And I like that too, because it's like when we take you out, you don't need a doctor no more. You're just dead. It's over for you. And they go back and forth on each other, and it's just really fucking nice. I like when Conway goes, my shooter face covered with a bunch of tats, hit him twice, double back, a couple hundred racks, vacuum sealed with rubber bands. No money raps used to hit people with the dummy packs. I don't know what the fuck a dummy pack is per se, but I'm gonna say that just the way he spits that, the way he kind of describes the shooter, giving him like the extra scariness, the extra don't give a fuck with the face tats. It's like those little details that really just make you kind of believe them. Then after that, they finish their verse, and then basically, I like the way Conway ends it with, take a rapper chain and let my son wear it. I thought that was funny. He's going to jack a rapper and give it to his kid, because whatever. Then Benny the Butcher does his verse. I remember listening to Woo in 95, got my first strap from Conway in 99. Paper I was trying to find. That summer I learned how to ride, getting one shooter, and my homie quit on me and got a job. And I thought that was, like, again, just crazy. So you have him listening to Wu as a youngster, where maybe he presents a certain way. A couple of years later, he gets his first gun from Conway. And then on the paper chase, they're learning it out. And then after the first shootout, his dude quits on him and gets a regular job. And then, it's just like, okay, that's probably some shit that really goes on. And then, okay, so your partner quits. Now you have to keep and figure it out on the low. You're probably feeling frustrated. And whether you're selling drugs or doing any other endeavor, the second it gets hard, somebody may quit on you. And I kind of like the fact that even though they're talking about such out there things, it still can be correlated back into some regular ass living for what a lot of people are going to be doing, or a lot of potential listeners are. His whole verse is great in the terms that it's just solid. It just listens well, describes his shit. My team had the best numbers when the coke wasn't cheap. That's a cool line, because it shows that, yeah, when times are good, everyone does well, but when times are bad, they still do well. Overall, I thought this just brought that same brand of grind music, that hustle, that, like, everything I found myself attracted to so far on this project, to the same degree of quality as the last 3 songs. So I was bound to give it another 4.75 on 5. Truly awesome, really dope one. Then the album just fucks with us, I think, in the best possible way. Tiona Deniece, I don't think I said that right, joins us as we talk about Kennedy. So the beat's kind of nicer, it kind of gets a little loungier, it flows a little bit, there's a lot of boom boom booms, and then there's this back and forth between Westside and Tiona, and they're both saying the same thing. Yo, I'm gonna blow your fucking face off, blow your fucking face off. And then she sings it and he says it kind of aggressively, and I really like the contrast between this soft, beautiful voice saying it and then Westside Gunn saying it. It almost feels like a trollish little goofy thing, because it serves its role as like an interlude on this album. It's almost comical. Like, I could see how a lot of people, like, I kind of laughed the first time I heard it. I'm like, this is fucking weird, because it's just, you don't expect her to say it, and then it's almost like she's serving as the ad-lib, she's doubling it down, and it's like an open threat, but it's almost beautiful, the threat and the joy that comes from blowing your fucking face off. Anyway, it's awesome. I give this a 5 on 5. I don't have a lot more to say, except to say this is absolutely fucking incredible, and I guess this is how you do an interlude. The next one features 50 Cent. It's called City on the Map. So in this one, we have Conway the Machine starting us off, and I really enjoyed it. Look, this for them people getting Jew money. Every time they step on the Ave, they get the chef on, say Mazel Tov before they step on the glass. As a Jewish person, I thought that was dope. So Jew money is because Jews are kind of rich. I wasn't born in the rich Jew clan, but I get it. I see how Jews live, so to me it makes a lot of sense. And then I like how he goes, say Mazel Tov before they step on the glass, right? Because that's at a wedding. You would say Mazel Tov, step on the glass. It's a celebratory thing related to getting money. So the fact that he kept that Jew shit running, totally dope. Get their stretch on, keep a big weapon to blast. My shorts ready made, just on collabs. And he flows through, and his verse is pretty fucking good, man. I don't have a lot more to comment on it in particular. I do like what he says, though. Sorry, I lied. I knew he was pussy when I shook his hand, because it's like the sense that, like, Conway will evaluate you and can get a good idea of who you are. And just that when you do look somebody in the eye and shake their hand, you can tell a lot about a person. And it's giving you that sense of advice to almost trust your gut with it. And then, Machine bitch, everything I drop is top tier. It's fucking dope. It really is. I agree with that. Then you got this chorus. I mean, I see the way your neck's looking, and you hear 50 kind of pop in through this chorus doing some ad-libs. So you already know the way them checks looking. Yeah, I put the city on my back, got it popping. These people put the city on the map. It's a good chorus. We haven't got a lot of choruses on this album, but I really like this one. Then 50 shows up. 50 does some goofy ass fucking shit. I don't know if you guys liked the 50 verse. I think 50 took away from the song in a negative way, but it's probably really good to have a track with 50 Cent in this genre, so I get it, but I don't know. So he goes, I'm a A student. I mean, I do my homework. All right. No ski mask. Put in my own work. Okay, so he's serious. He does his own shit. I do my homework. I hated that line. So he's going, I do my homework, because he does it himself, but he's trying to imply do, like the do. It's just not good. I do put in my own work. And I'm like, dude, you're just fucking repeating yourself. It is not that good. It is bad hook. Valedictorian, bulletproof DeLorean. My window's thick like 24 hours stores. Stop. Anyway, the rest of the verse is fine. I don't think he sounds as interesting or whatever as the rest of them. This feels like his character or power by comparison to Westside Gunn, by comparison to Conway the Machine. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. He has a flyness, I guess, for the rest of his verse, but the way he starts it is just freaking terrible to me. I did not like it that much. Sorry if I'm going a little bit quick on it at this point. We are coming up to the end of it. This song was not my favorite, but look, Conway killed it. 4.35 on that front. Beat's amazing. And then 50. So yeah, 4.35. I have a lot more to say. Let's talk about the last real Griselda track on this album, Maystor. This is an amazing track because it features Keisha, Plum. And I just want to jump to the end first because it's definitely the most interesting part of this song. Not interesting as in best. Interesting as in for me to talk about because, let's be real, Benny starts us off, kills it. Conway kills it. Westside kills it. But then Keisha does this calm, talky, poetic outro bit as though this is like the pre-outro. And it was beautiful. And she goes, I'm a killer and I'm going to kill again. I wrote this with a devilish grin. I'm looking at his neck full of gold. I know what kind of car he drove. Holy Ghost is sold at Calico. Only one of my people can snuff you. They saw it and all official. What would Chine do? And it's just the idea of like knowing who you are, the bad things you've done, the perversions that almost drive you. And if you're a killer and you look at that chain and you're going to just take it, etc., and just painting it. And she says it with this calm, not melodic at all, but like soft, like steady, cold voice. And it's just the way she kills it. It's just amazing. Buffalo is ruthless, throw you off the roof shit. That's an amazing line. Just the way they rhyme ruthless with roof shit and like that, it really flows. Kicked him in his face, he's fucking toothless, murderous music, I'm from the fucking zoo. And it just is like that for the whole way through. The rest of it, it's just, she's savage in the way she puts it. She just like the butcher, machine gun, and plume, filthiness riddled in all your eardrum. Then it's a price on her head. It's not up for discussion. 2 slugs in your bitch face. Those are the repercussions. Man, as you can see, it's just ridiculous. You should totally, if anything, I would say this is the track to check out just to hear her outro, just for how freaking awesome it really, really, really is. I mean, the beat on this track is also dope. Like, I think Beat Butcher and Derringer killed it the whole album so far, and it's just been as consistent as that. And then Benny, well, we'll jump back to Benny. I like the way he starts the verse with, I don't feel no pressure. I feel like this my calling brought the work. An hour later, had to flush it down the toilet. Every time they kicked the door in, I'm the one who took the charges. I came back and trapped harder just in case they thought I lost it. That's cool because he doesn't feel the pressure of life, both as a rapper, as whatever. He comes through, he does what he has to. But the idea of how he bought the work, an hour later someone's trying to bust him, he's flushing it down the toilet. When he does get clipped, he owns up, he takes it, he comes back and proves he's fucking stronger and better than ever. I went from heroin to a Merrill Lynch stockbroker. That's an amazing line, right? Like, it's just like I went from doing bad things over there with heroin because selling drugs isn't the most ideal situation, but to move again to that legal and clean way of life. I also like when he goes, all my hoes crazy, I can't fuck unless she's bipolar, because I like crazy girls too. They offer great sexual experiences in my humble life so far. Oh yeah, you let these hoes sweet talk to you. You crackers get rocked to sleep. You pay that bitch rent. I asked that hoe what she got for me. That's my favorite line on the album. I like that shit. I like the way that he kind of tells you, guys, be a little smarter with how you're approaching this shit because you letting people take from you. But really the true star of his verse is, I don't hate people. I see them as students that I can teach. And that's some crap that is real in their music. They clearly are trying to convey a more positive message. Then Conway comes through with his verse, and he kind of referenced it. He's the guy where they took so usually their titles will just kind of come, I think, from lines in the song. So in this case, or some pun to it. That's how we give it up on May Street, pistol whip you, get your face beat. So they're the May store on May Street. Get it? Anyway, I don't know. He doesn't chase money. Money chases him. Counting these bands. It's been a great week. It's the same kind of stuff we've been getting the whole way through. I do apologize if my enthusiasm of running through it is it dipped a little here. But overall, I think that Conway kills it with the same level of everything. I came up hustling the stuff that you snort. I thought that was a cool line because it's kind of pointing out you're a user. I'm a guy providing you. We are not in the same tier in life. Then people sneak dissing. That's nothing, of course, because I can have them people clip like it's nothing, of course. And again, that boss attitude of let them say what they want. If I ever want to deal with it, it's just that easy. Then Westside, hey, yo, we know it's fucking murder. Shoot you, ain't gonna take it further. Hit your son, hit your daughter, shot your bitch, I'll put on your coffin. And it's just, oh shit, eh? And it's just like that. Like, we're gonna fucking take you out. We're gonna just destroy you. And yeah, I'm gonna then go floss with my white bitch. And overall, it's a beautiful track as far as they go. I really enjoyed listening to it. It's another banger. It's great. It's a 4.5 on 5. And then we move on to the outro track of this album called Lowery. Lowery? Oh well. So this is done by bro A.A. Rashid, who I couldn't find a lot of information on, but he does have a SoundCloud with a bunch of shit on it. And I had to first say it sounds like he's fucking smoking a blunt the whole way through this. Like, you know when somebody's talking mid-exhale, like that effect. And I really like this. This is a beautiful outro to this album. He goes, first of all, I want to say praise God. Let's start like that, right? I want to go like this. God bless the dead, you heard? And I feel like there's this like humility in recognizing God and starting off some kind of a proclamation by putting God first, recognizing that almost like we're all subject to God's plan and whatnot. Either way, then he appreciates our attention, which I thought was cool because it's the most valuable thing on the planet. So it's like if we're going to stop and listen to him, he's going to kind of let us know it's important. And that's actually, there's something to dissect in that, right? So as a customer service guy who has done a lot of optimization in that field, you start off by almost putting something above you and then thanking the person for giving you attention. It's just such a powerful move to get somebody to be more receptive to anything that you have to say. So then he proceeds to tell you that thing. So let me tell you something. Some things never die, you heard? They don't die. There's no paradox between feelings and science. Science has already won the race. You can hear it. And then he proceeds to talk about how fucking dope the composition of all this is, and maybe you need to make music to fully appreciate how amazing it is. I make music, so I do really appreciate it, and I think he's just kind of laying it down that what we're hearing is empirically incredible music. It's not up for discussion, and I really like the science versus feelings thing because you can have feelings all you want. Everyone is totally entitled to an opinion. Your opinion can be completely fucking worthless if there's nothing to back it up, if you don't have numbers, if you don't have proof, if you don't have research, if you don't have anything, if it's just, oh, I like that idea, so I feel it should be a thing. Nah, it's garbage. Anyway, it's fine. I mean, this outro works really well. I thought it was really good for like a thought point of view. It really gave you kind of a good lesson to end it on, like something to think about after all of that. This album, I'm considering this the end of the album because of what comes next and whatnot. It was already whatever. So I'm giving this track a 4.5. And yes, there is the next track, which is the Bang remix. So I made a reaction video when Bang came out over on our other channel that I don't know if I'm going to pursue that much further because of copyright life, but technically we have a reaction channel and I talked about this when it dropped. So what changed in the remix is that verses 2 and 3 where Westside Gunn and Benny the Butcher are added, which I think is really cool because then it's like all of Griselda gets a track with Eminem. I guess we'll go through it. Conway's verse is pretty sick, you know. I use the Arm and Hammer just to fluff my brakes. Say that I want to say I don't give a fuck. I'm rich. Tuck my fifth. Don't hesitate to bust my shit. I tell you people that Kyrie suck my dick. It's the same kind of shit we're getting. It's fucking dope. it is a lot of amazing lyrics that we attitude, etc. I don't have a lot more I can really add. A lot of these lines are just hard. They just come in. The way he raps them again is just flawless. He finesses it just perfect, and the way the beat is just grimy and it fits everything. Like, it's just everything you're kind of hoping for with it. So again, I don't have a lot more to say in his verse. It's not that there's not great lines, it's just that none of those really profound lines that I could comment on. And then I like the chorus where he's like, they think this shit's a game. I pull up, let it ring. It's kind of good. Like, he kind of plays it at bang, like he's gonna come through and just shoot you kind of shit. Then Westside Gunn does this tiny thing, like, AOSC gang, who fucking with that growing up? Everybody, mama loves you on crack. We got bodies, boom, boom, boom. The master at Pinoy, my person did 5, he came home with a kilo. Fair enough. Little verse is very intense. I don't have a lot to comment on it. It just feels like Westside got on the track is a little bit, but I kind of liked hearing it, and I really enjoyed his voice. He breaks it up from like a tone because he's more on the same pitch as Eminem, so it's like deeper, higher kind of thing. That's cool from like a math perspective. Then we got Benny, and I like the way he goes, I was listening to Stan with coke flipping in the pan, because we got Eminem on the track, so he's shouting him out like that. That's really respectful of Benny. About enough quarters to go back to scrimmage with the Rams. When it comes to my plug, it won't fit in the sedan. Comparing us, you can't do it. It's like Timberlands to Vans. Overall, same kind of dope shit. He's flowing through, rapping properly, making great puns here. I like the Timberlands to Vans because the quality difference is just serious. Timberlands is fucking hard, knock you out. Vans is a little skatery. Official only, you know that. The pistol under the floor map and hated on more than Jesus, locked up more times than Kodak. I thought that was a cool line because everybody knows Kodak Black's been locked up a whole bunch right now. And then the last thing I thought was really dope in his verse is when he goes, blocks and jails, walls to spots on the billboards. And so just kind of like how he flew from one life into the other. And I like that transition. Like, you get the feeling when listening to Griselda that the game of the crack dealing is a means to getting to a more sustainable and better thing. The chorus comes through, it flows, it's awesome. And then there's Eminem's verse, where I don't feel like it makes sense on this track. Like, the other guys do the same thing they've been doing. It's hard, they're fucking fly, they're fucking dope. And Eminem does come in and talk about, I guess, how dope he is in a sense. And his rhymes and his lyrics are really good. Like, let's be like, hit the clubs and mingle. I used to be man of the people, hit the clubs and mingle. Used to dream one day I'll be fucking pink like a flamingo. And that's a cool line because fucking pink like a flamingo means I would be like fucking pink as in the color, like a flamingo, or fucking pink, like the singer that he's worked with. I guess it's fine. That was back when I smoked cannabis, weed, but he's also talking about the rapper Cannabis, but it was tough because I was a fan of his and he wrecked some. Or, you're looking at Fools, Ja Rule is almost cool, blah, 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 Oscar up his wazoo. And then he thinks about other rappers he's been fucking with, and then you gotta be careful about who you compare him with. You can compare him to Lightning. That's a similarity striking. Okay. You can compare him to Jaws the Shark. You can compare him to Marilyn or Charles. Those are both acceptable. Nas, Biggie, or Pac are also acceptable. But don't compare him to Iggy Azalea or the mother Milli Vanilli. Anyway, I'm like, why is he doing this? Like, when this song dropped, I had the whole feeling of what the fuck is Eminem talking about on this track? Like, and then the beat flips and he goes really quickity and he like flicks it up and it just kind of turns into an Eminem song and then it just kind of ends. I'm like, y'all want drama? We can make a scary movie like Marlon Wayans. Y'all looking charred remains of Charlemagne, the God, Slim Whip, Westside and Conway are not playing. I cock back an aim and I spray it, yeah, like bang. It's fine. He also does a lot of gun bars. It's just like, I feel like Eminem's verse does not belong on this track. Like, from like a sonic or lyrical point of view, like, Eminem is kind of whining about like his significance, careers he's ended, how people are treating him in the game, a bit of that media shit, and it's good rapping and really lyrical, and he has some cool puns and shit in it, but by contrast to the legitimately hard shit that comes from Griselda, it just kind of sounds like Eminem's being a wanker. Still, I really like the remix version, adding more Griselda. It balances out the track and makes it better. It's like it's an amazing song, and then Eminem comes on. So if you want M, you can listen to it, or you can just skip it. I'm glad they put this on the album because I think it'll help it get some more views, more spins, and it'll help them get clout. But it really just feels like M's on the album for clout, 50's on the album for clout. And both the 50 and M were Conway songs, so it just feels like that was some shit for Conway, and then it grew into a more Griselda project that sounded tighter, because, like, I don't know, everything but those two tracks is, like, absolutely, like, flawless, and it seems like the more shady side of the influence, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to take shots and take some heat in the comment, but, like, yeah, there's some star power in 50 Cent and Eminem's names, but I don't think either of them sounded as dope as the Griselda folk. I digress. 4.5 for this track because of how dope Griselda was on this, and the beat's amazing, and all that other shit. Let's end up now. I give this album a 4.57 on 5. I would call it a modern classic. It's got the length, it's got versatility, it's got enough tracks. The skit is absolutely fucking hilarious. The intro and outro give you something to learn about. You get consistent, quality bars from the 3 Griselda members as they do their different styles and things. There's a good distribution of each person. It just feels finesse. The mixing and mastering is quality. Everything flows properly, and I'm truly excited. Do I think this is better than anything else I've heard from them? No. I think it's just as good and enjoyable, and it, like, lived up to my expectations in the sense that I don't know how you can get better than what they do. They just keep doing it right, and it just keeps being enjoyable. And that's what I think, but I really care a lot about what you think. So feel free to leave a comment telling me anything you think about this album, about this review, your thoughts and feelings on any part of it, and I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. And if you do leave a comment, I'll make that effort to answer you in a timely fashion. On that note, feel free to like this review if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Make sure to follow us on social media in case malicious actors clip this channel, and then you can still keep in touch and shit. And yeah, special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Lindo Williams, and Coney Sparks. They're dope. They support what we do, helped us get a new camera, helped us get on Spotify, helping us with the website, and they could tell us what albums to review. So if you want to join us like that, that would be super awesome. We're going to be looking into better things to entice you into Patreon in the near future. And yeah, it really means a lot, just all of it. I also make music. You can check it out on Spotify, Holden Stephan Roy, The Alternative Grind, and you can check that out. Let me know what you think about it. And it's also on this channel. I'm in our music playlist. So yeah, let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing that. And live long and prosper, everybody.